Welcome back everyone. In our last video, we revised the general pathology slides starting from hydropic degeneration to cavernous hemangioma, all the basics you need for practical exams. Today, let's move one step ahead into the systemic pathology starting from blood vessels to skin. Here we see all different systems of pathology one by one, starting from atherosclerosis to malignant melanoma. Systemic pathology is all about organ-specific lesions, and in this session we will quickly go through the must-know slides and organs for exams. First, cardiovascular system. This is the slide of coronary artery. Here you can see narrowing of lumen and large atheromatous plaque containing central lipid core and dark purple blue calcification. So this is the atherosclerosis of coronary artery. In this gross specimen, this is the part of aorta showing multiple atheromatous plaques, and microscopically you can see large lipid pool with foamy cells in the intima. And what are the etiological factors for atherosclerosis? Like diabetes, obesity, smoking and some other causes. Second specimen. This is the part of heart showing left ventricular wall, interventricular septum and right atrium. The pathology here is the area showing necrosis surrounded by a hyperemic border or red-brown border. So this is the specimen of myocardial infarction showing acute change, and this is the slide of acute myocardial infarction. Hallmark of this diagnosis is presence of polymorphs in between the cardiac muscle fiber, and there is coagulative necrosis of cardiac muscle fiber. So here there is loss of nuclei, eosinophilic fibers and plenty of neutrophils. Second slide showing cardiac muscle fibers but pink fibrosis or fibrotic area in the muscle wall. So you can correlate with the gross that here there is grey-white homogeneous whitish area showing fibrosis. So this is the slide of Hild MI. It is important to know different changes in gross and microscopy by the different duration of time, starting from early hours of myocardial infarction, where you can see coagulative necrosis with neutrophilic infiltration, which is called acute myocardial infarction, and after 2 to 8 weeks there is healing and collagen deposition, so grey white scar, and this is the Hild MI changes. Moving to respiratory system. These are the three specimens of lung showing different pathology. First specimen, you can see this is the specimen of lung. This part is normal lung parenchyma and large area is showing multiple whitish necrotic patches. This is caseous necrosis and some cavitary lesions. So this is the specimen of tuberculous lung. In this specimen of lung, there are 1 to 2 mm size white millet-sized granules, and these are all millet tubercle of miliary tuberculosis. So this is a specimen of miliary tuberculosis. Third specimen showing lung parenchyma infiltrated by multiple gray-white nodules varying in size, and some of the nodules show central umbilication. So this is the metastasis of lung, and you have to differentiate between miliary tuberculosis and metastatic lung carcinoma. Now, hallmark of lung tuberculosis is granuloma. As you know, granuloma, whenever there is presence of necrosis, some Langerhans type of giant cells surrounding rim of lymphocytes, fibroblast and epithelioid cells. This is a high power view. You can appreciate some plum shaped or sleeper shaped epithelioid cells in the diagnosis of tuberculous granuloma. So in any organ, if you find this type of granuloma, then this is the tuberculous inflammation. In this specimen of lung, you can appreciate this lower lobe is showing grayish discoloration and consolidation. So this is the specimen of gray hepatization and showing features of lobar pneumonia. Here, this is the specimen of normal lung showing some patchy areas of consolidation. So this is a specimen of bronchopneumonia. So lobar pneumonia, in which one lobe is involved totally, where in bronchopneumonia there is patchy area of consolidation. Now, how will you differentiate stages of lobar pneumonia? So there are 4 stages of pneumonia: congestion, red hepatization, gray hepatization and resolution. Why it is called red hepatization? Because it is becoming solid like liver, and it alveoli filled with RBCs and few neutrophils. So this stage is called red hepatization. So starting from day 1, which is congestion, only vessels are congested and alveoli are filled with edematous fluid. Second stage, red hepatization, mainly RBCs are there in alveoli. In gray hepatization, on the day 4 and to 6, RBCs are broken down and only fibrinous material and neutrophils are there in alveoli. And lastly, the 4th stage, resolution, where macrophages clear the debris and lung return to the normal spongy structure. So here you can identify alveoli. Identification mark is anthracotic pigment, and alveoli are filled with plenty of neutrophils. So recall, this is the stage 3, gray hepatization, and the slide showing lobar pneumonia with gray hepatization. In this slide, specimen is lung. You can identify by presence of alveoli, blood vessels, but abnormality lies here. Many nodular growth or malignant cells are seen in the lung parenchyma. So this is the this is the carcinoma of lung, showing different structure related to squamous, and this is a squamous cell carcinoma. Next topic is salivary gland and GIT. In this slide, here you can identify preserved normal architecture of salivary gland, showing serous and mucus acini. So this is the tumor part which is capsulated, showing variegated areas like ductal epithelial cells and stroma showing chondromyxoid change. In high power view, you can appreciate cartilaginous stroma, some spindle shaped myoepithelial cells and ductal cells. So this is the slide of pleomorphic adenoma. In GI tract, important specimens are of different types of ulcers. So this first specimen shows part of intestine showing horizontally placed ulcerated area, and some of the ulcers show fibrosis and narrowing of the area. So this is the stricture part in the intestine. So this is a specimen of tuberculous intestine showing tuberculous stricture. Second specimen showing arrangement of ulcer which are placed vertical to the long axis of the intestine. So these are the multiple ulcerated area over the intestinal lumen side. So this is the typhoid ulcer. So difference between TB and typhoid is the location and position of the ulcer. Here they are transversely placed, here they are vertically placed. Third specimen where you can find multiple small tiny ulceration which are numerous in number and varying in size with necrotic base. So this is the amoebiasis. Fourth type of ulcer here you can see is the peptic ulcer. These ulcers are having punched out appearance with smooth sharp edge, and here you can see perforation. In surrounding areas shows edematous appearance, right? If you compare this ulcer, you can see large irregularly sized ulcer with necrotic base, and the edges are showing heaped up appearance. So this is the characteristic of malignant ulcer. Here we can see differentiating point for tuberculosis and typhoid ulcer. Difference between benign and malignant ulcer in GIT or gastric ulcer, right? So you can appreciate regular and mucosal fold are radiating, while irregular ulcer with necrotic base and hipped up margin. In amoebic colitis, mostly the outer or the surface of the wall shows small tiny ulcers, but when you see microscopically, it is having a specific flask shape appearance, means narrow base, narrow neck and wide base, and the organism which is responsible for this amoebiasis is the cyst form of E. histolytica. This is the microscopic picture of peptic ulcer. Here you can appreciate normal gastric mucosa, congestion, and there is a breach in continuity of mucosa. So there is loss of mucosa here with fibrinous exudate material in the base of the ulcer, with beneath this ulcer there is inflammatory infiltrate and zone of granulation tissue. Fourth zone is zone of fibrosis. So this is the histology of peptic ulcer. This specimen shows a large area of ulceration with a loss of rugosity of mucosa, and this is a part of stomach wall showing this type of histology. Easy to identify, and the appearance is like a signet ring appearance. So peripherally push nucleus with vacuolar change in the cytoplasm and malignant looking nuclei, means pleomorphism, hyperchromasia and varying sizes. So we have discussed ulcer with narrow neck and wide base. So this is the amoebic colitis showing the ulceration in the intestinal wall. This is again ulcer, preserved mucosa, loss of mucosa and ulceration here, but without any malignant feature and necrosis. So this is the peptic ulcer slide. In this slide, identify organ by this mucosa. So this is intestinal mucosa. This is a normal part of intestine, but from here you can appreciate some growth, and this growth showing thickened wall of mucosa or intestine infiltrating into the submucosa, many multiple glandular varying size of glands and areas of fibrosis and necrosis. In high power view, you can appreciate hyperchromasia and pleomorphism showing collection of malignant cells. So this is the slide of CA intestine. Inflammatory bowel disease include Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. So here in this Crohn's disease, mainly involved region is ileum plus or minus colon, and mainly colon in ulcerative colitis. So differentiating features include cobblestone appearance of the wall, there is keep lesions, sometimes granulomas are present and ulceration. While in case of ulcerative colitis, diffuse distribution, normal wall appearance, limited to mainly mucosa and superficial ulcers are there with pseudopolyp appearance. This is a slide of liver. Identify it by presence of portal tract, normally showing bile duct, artery and a vein. This hepatocyte shows fat globules in the cytoplasm. There are two types of vacuoles, macrovesicular and microvesicular. So this is fatty change of liver. This 4 slides show different changes. First shows hepatocytes and portal tract, but portal tract shows aggregates of lymphocytes and they are infiltrating into the surrounding hepatocytic parenchyma. So this is the characteristic feature of hepatitis C viral infection. This slide shows features of acute hepatitis, showing inflammatory cells with predominantly lymphocytes, and this arrow shows acidophil bodies, and this orange appearance is of bile species. So these are the features of acute hepatitis. Here you can see a glassy look of hepatocytes. So this is called ground glass hepatocytic appearance, most common in chronic hepatitis B. In this section, you can see a band of infiltration of mononuclear cells, plasma cells, lymphocytes, and some macrophages. So this is showing interface hepatitis. Easiest organ to diagnose in exam. This is a part of liver showing varying sizes of different nodules. So cirrhosis of liver. This section shows normal hepatic histology, right? And if you compare here, you can see these are the regenerative nodules of hepatocytes, and in between these nodules there is fibrosis. Here you can see some bile ductules and inflammatory infiltrate. So this is the slide of liver cirrhosis. Here, see, this is the normal liver. If you see in this specimen, you can easily appreciate cirrhotic nodules, but some abnormal growth is here, varying size of nodules with bile stain appearance, and microscopically this lesion shows thickness of plates of hepatocytes, right? So normally if you see, there is a single plate of hepatocytes and sinusoidal lining in between these two plates. Here there is more than 3 cell thick plates with nuclear malignancy. So here you can see this is the case of hepatocellular carcinoma, showing malignant hepatocytes having granular eosinophilic cytoplasm with distinct cell border, some showing glandular appearance, and trabecula are formed having more than 3 cell thickness. This is the hallmark of hepatocellular carcinoma. Nucleus are hyperchromatic with thick nuclear membrane with prominent nucleoli. So this is the case of hepatocellular carcinoma. And commonest etiological factors are hepatitis C virus, hepatitis B, alcohol, and non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Kidney, you can appreciate by glomeruli. These are the tubules having colloid like material in the tubule, so it is called thyroidization of tubule. Some glomeruli are sclerosed, so glomerulosclerosis. Some vessels show hyalinization, and interstitium shows chronic inflammatory cell infiltrate. So 4 components: glomerulosclerosis, thyroidization of tubules, hyalinized vessels, and inflammatory infiltrate, chronic in nature. So this is a slide of chronic pyelonephritis. Now important to differentiate small contracted kidney and flea-bitten kidney. This is a specimen showing bilateral kidney having scar on the outer surface, small in size and contracted. This kidney shows granularity on the outer surface and small contracted in size. Here kidney shows small petechia or red colored dots on the outer surface of the kidney. So this is the chronic pyelonephritis appearance in the gross specimen. This is a benign nephrosclerosis gross appearance, and in malignant hypertension this is the flea-bitten appearance of kidney. Now these are the different causes for the small contracted kidney and flea-bitten kidney. Most common cause for benign nephrosclerosis is hypertension, and microscopically you will see hyaline arteriosclerosis, means hyaline material deposited in the vessel wall. In malignant hypertension, the vessel wall shows thickened and layered appearance like onion. So this is called onion skin appearance of the vessel, and this change is called hyperplastic arteriolosclerosis. So hyaline arteriosclerosis in benign nephrosclerosis and hyperplastic arteriosclerosis in the malignant hypertension or malignant nephrosclerosis. Okay, see, this is the glomerulus showing some mesangial proliferation in the nodular form, and vessel wall show hyalinization. This is a past stain showing or highlighting this nodular appearance of matrix proliferation. So this is called Kimmel-Stahl-Wilson nodule, and it is common in diabetic nephropathy. So what are the different changes in diabetic nephropathy? One is Kimmel-Stahl-Wilson nodule or nodular mesangial expansion. Second, thick basement membrane of glomeruli as well as tubule, and arteries show hyaline arteriolosclerosis. Sometimes you may see tubular atrophy, tubular basement membrane thickening, fibrosis, inflammation, and advanced arteriolar hyalinosis. This specimen of kidney shows some abnormality at the lower pole. So this is the homogeneous grey-white nodular growth in the kidney. In microscopic view, this shows large nest of tumor and delicate septa containing thin blood vessels. So these are the polygonal cells with clear cytoplasm and central to peripherally placed nuclei. So this morphology, gross and microscopic features are in favor of renal cell carcinoma or clear cell carcinoma of kidney. This specimen of kidney showing mass at the lower pole having necrosis and hemorrhagic area. In microscopic view, you can appreciate three components. One is, these are the small blue cells. These are undifferentiated blastemal component. This epithelial component shows gland or tubule-like structure, and This is the fibrostoma in between. So these three component favors the diagnosis of nephroblastoma, or another name is Wilms tumor. So next system is male genital system. This slide showing glandular proliferation having double layered epithelium. Inner columnar with basally placed nuclei, and outer epithelium is flat cuboidal with fibrous septa or stromal proliferation in between the gland. Some of the glands shows presence of corpora amylacea. This is a laminated material which is corpora amylacea. So this is a slide of benign prostatic hyperplasia. So here you can appreciate two-layered epithelium of prostate. One is columnar inner epithelium with papillary infolding and basally flattened or cuboidal epithelium. So this is part of normal prostate. But here these are the small glands with single type of epithelium with round cell, and there is loss of basal epithelium, right? So this is the case of CA prostate, in which there is loss of two-layered epithelial structure and varying size of glands and tubules are there, showing malignant appearance of nucleus. Very easy slide to diagnose by the presence of cartilage. Whenever you see cartilage in your slide, try to identify other features. Here you can appreciate some sebaceous gland, mucus gland along with the cartilage, some fat cells. So this is the slide of mature teratoma. In testes, the appearance here shows normal testicular parenchyma with sebum-like material. So this is mature teratoma of testis, and same diagnosis with same histological features in case of ovaries, showing here hair tuft, some sebum-like material. Occasionally you can identify bony tissue and tooth. So in low power view, you can appreciate multiple these hair follicles, sebaceous glands, and lining epithelium showing a squamous epithelium. So dermoid cyst, whenever you find only the ectodermal origin tissue, and it is called mature teratoma when you find all three germ layer derived tissue like from ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. In high power view, you can easily appreciate hair follicles, sebaceous gland, some adipose tissue along with cartilage, and some sometimes you can find brain tissue along with the GI mucosa also. Next specimen is of testis. You can appreciate normal parenchyma but large nodular mass, homogeneous grey pink in color, and microscopically you can appreciate these are the normal tubular structures of testes. So these are the seminiferous tubules with some abnormal appearance of nodule showing malignant cells with fibrous septa and lymphocytes. In high power view, you can appreciate round to polygonal cells with clear to slightly eosinophilic cytoplasm with hyperchromasia, a pleomorphism. These cell nodules and nest are separated by this septa, which contains lymphocytes in between. So you can compare the malignant cells with the size of lymphocytes. So small lymphocytes and malignant cell with the appearance of this tumor mass. This is a slide of seminoma. In female genital tract, most commonly asked organ to identify is leiomyoma. So here uterine wall shows multiple leiomyomas. These are subserosal, submucosal and intramural fibroids. Microscopically, this is the well circumscribed nodule showing sharp demarcation from the myometrium, and high power shows smooth muscle cell bundles in fascicular growth pattern, and you can identify smooth muscle cell by its spindle shaped nucleus, and they are uniform in nature. So this is the benign tumor of smooth muscle cells called leiomyoma. Ovarian cyst showing papillary projections, and in microscopy you can see papillary structure with centrally fibrovascular core. So this is the specimen of serous papillary carcinoma, and this is the microscopic features of this tumor. Here you can appreciate ovarian cyst with multiple cystic structure and mucinous or mucin filled cyst. This is multiloculated cyst. So this is mucinous cyst adenoma. Here you can appreciate columnar lining which contains mucin filled areas and stroma. So this is the slide of mucinous cyst adenoma. We have seen in previous slide this type of architecture, means nest of round cells surrounded by septas which are infiltrated by lymphocytes. So if you find this type of features in female genital tract, then it is germinoma. So seminoma and germinoma have the same microscopic features, right? In male genital it is called seminoma. In female genital system it is called germinoma. So here you can easily appreciate round large cells with clear cytoplasm and prominent nucleoli, and the fibrous septa contains lymphocytes. So this is the germinoma, this germinoma slide. Okay. Here, this is the part of normal tissue. So this is the breast tissue showing acini and duct. Here, some part of tumor showing sharply demarcation, and this is the compressed ducts and surrounding fibromyxoid stroma. So there are two types of architectural pattern in fibroadenoma. One is called intracanalicular and second is called pericanalicular pattern. This is the slide of fibroadenoma. This is a slide showing nest and glandular architecture of malignant cells surrounded by stromal tissue with inflammatory cells, and this is a gland showing pomodonecrosis. So centrally placed necrotic area surrounded by malignant cells, and there is infiltration in the stroma. So this is a slide of breast carcinoma showing invasive ductal carcinoma feature. This slide is also a case of breast carcinoma. Here the cell size are small and they are arranged in an Indian file pattern. So you can compare these both cells. They are large pleomorphic, and here you can appreciate small blue and single file Indian file pattern. So this is a lobular carcinoma of breast. Next is endocrine system thyroid. You know very well, this is the colloid filled follicles varying in size, and follicles are lined by benign follicular cells of thyroid. So colloid goiter, again colloid filled follicles, but here you can appreciate lymphoid aggregates and congested vessels. So this is the slide of thyroiditis. Colloid filled follicles, so thyroid is there, but here you can see papillary projections and growth showing nuclear grooving and often NEI nuclear feature. So this is papillary carcinoma of thyroid. This slide shows two components. One is multinucleated giant cells. They are eosinophilic cytoplasm and numerous nucleoli. And second component is the tumor component. They are round to oval cells with 1 to 2 prominent nucleoli. So this is a slide of giant cell tumor. You can identify it by presence of multiple giant cells. In previous session we have discussed this topic. This is again to revise. This is a brain parenchyma, and this subarachnoid space shows plenty of inflammatory cell infiltrate, mainly polymorphs. So this is a slide of pyogenic meningitis. In high power view, you can appreciate large band of polymorphic infiltration in the subarachnoid space. So pyogenic meningitis. In exam you can be asked about differentiating point between pyogenic, viral and tuberculous meningitis. So these are the features for differentiating these three meningitis. Okay, here the slides show cellular areas and hypocellular areas. With cellular areas shows some wavy nuclei. Waviness of nuclei is there, and these are the Verrucay bodies. So Verrucay bodies are characterized by nuclear palisading like this, and their process of cell cytoplasm make a clear zone or anuclear zone. So this is called Verrucay body, and this is the slide of schwannoma and showing the multiple Verrucay body, Antony A area, Antony B area. In lymph node, this is the small lymph node showing normal parenchyma and some glandular epithelial cells in the lymph node parenchyma. So this is lymph node metastasis. Here again you can see lymph node architecture and some malignant glands are infiltrated into the lymph node parenchyma. So this is called metastatic lymph node. This slide shows Reed-Sternberg cell, multiple Reed-Sternberg cells. These are binucleated cells with prominent large eosinophilic nucleoli. So this is a slide of Hodgkin's lymphoma. In spleen, brown to grey appearance of spleen with some atrophy, and microscopically there is interstitial fibrosis with brown iron deposition and blue calcification. So in high power view you can see this purple or blue calcification and these brown flakes or iron deposits, and you can appreciate this iron pigment by special stain, pearl stain. So this is a specimen of spleen showing gamma Gandy bodies. In skin, this surface is normal squamous epithelium with some hyperplastic skin squamous epithelial lining, and this dermis show abnormal nodules infiltrating into it and squamous proliferation. So this is invasive, well differentiated squamous cell carcinoma. High power view you can appreciate by marked keratinization or keratin pearl is squamous cells with minimal proliferation. So this is a slide of squamous cell carcinoma. Here again skin normal epithelium. In the dermis you can see blue colored cells showing glandular pattern, and in high power view you can appreciate peripheral palisading, then retraction artifact. So this is the slide of basal cell carcinoma. Here squamous epithelium, and beneath this there is excessive deposition of melanin pigmentation, and in high power view you can see malignant melanoma features by presence of malignant cells and excessive melanin pigment. So melanin, for this we use fontanamazone as a special stain. This tumor is derived from melanocytes. Basal cell carcinoma derived from basal cells of the squamous epithelium, and squamous cell carcinoma is arising from the squamous cell carcinoma. So I hope you will find it very beneficial for your exam. So stay focused and confident, and best wishes for your exam. Thank you.